Hello, everyone. For our first project that we get to keep, we're going to start with monster mugs. Now, monster mugs are awesome. We get to take this in just about any direction you want. It teaches the basic foundations of sculpting, the same foundations that the masters use around the world, building with basic shapes, creating that main form before we start adding any detail. And when I say basic shapes, I mean things like circles, squares, triangles, things like that. Simple things that anyone can make. Monster mugs are sometimes fierce, they're sometimes vicious, some are sweet and give only kisses. No one knows what monsters will come next, so make something wild and just try your best. Remember, I'm just asking you to try, and trust me, you'll do fine on this project, so enjoy yourself. Cool? If you take a look at the ones that you see in front of you right now, you can see their eyes have emotion to them, so think about how eyebrows can affect how eyes look, but also look at how they use some basic shapes like circles. Think about the coils that we rolled when we made handles and how those could be placed on the clay and then blended in certain areas. So look at that guy on the left. See how he's got those eyebrows? They're just coils placed on top, and then the top of the coil is blended to look like it's part of that form. We're going to talk more and more about that form in just a second. Look at these guys, aren't they great? I just want you to see some examples. These crack me up. Every time I see them, I just see like a choir singing. I love it. Lots of ways you could do this. Not every monster mug is going to have the mouth be the opening of the mug. Some of these are usable, drinkable. Some of them don't look like anything you've ever seen before. It's really cool. All right, in ceramics, we're always going to do the same thing. Plan. Today's going to be our planning day. We're going to take a look at options, examples. You're going to do some research on your own, and then we're visually going to plan these through drawings. Then we're going to start next class with creating our basic shape. We're going to add form using basic shapes with clay. We're going to blend connections to become part of the form. I'll talk more and more about that as we move forward, making forms. And please don't skip the slip when you're scratching and attaching. I know it sticks together when it's wet, but your project will fall apart. All right, let's look at this right here. It says add form using basic shapes. What could that mean? Well, take a look at this. Think about what basic shapes you see. There's only a couple parts on there. We've got the main cup. We've got an eye. What shape is that eye made out of? Anybody thought circle? I think you're probably right. And here's the thing. It's not just a circle. It's a ball. It's a sphere. But it's not just a whole ball or sphere. It's laying flat on there. So what do you think somebody did to make that fit like that onto the cup? You think they cut it in half? You're probably right. All right, cut that in half. It just fits a little better. It looks more natural. It's also got a better connecting area on the cup, which is good. So that's our eye right there. What else do we see? What other shapes? We've got the teeth. Those are just like tiny little, think of them like candy corns. Think if you made a little piece of candy corn with your clay, that's basically a tooth or a fang if you want to say. Like I said, we're making basic shapes. What else do you see? Those antlers up there? How could you make those antlers? How would you make those antlers? If you're not sure, think about how would I make those antlers? I would just roll a coil. Yeah. And same with the handle. Let's see what we got. We got short coils for those little horns on top. We got a long coil for the handle, little cones for the teeth, and a ball for the eye. So really basic shapes to create something that's really cute and cool. As we're making that form, we can blend to become part of the form. You remember I said earlier, we blend shapes to become part of the form. If you look underneath that left eye, see how it's blended into the face? You're using that wooden tool there to blend into the face. The bottom of the eye is blended down, the top is blended up. Have they blended the area where it connects to the eyeball? Look really close. Is the eyelid blended onto the eyeball? No, it's not. Now, if you look at the mouth, the bottom lip is blended down. The top lip is blended up. See how it's smooth? It goes into the face. But is the inside of the mouth blended? No, they left that edge of the coil there because they want it to look like an opening of the mouth. The eye needs to look like it's open. Otherwise, it's just going to look weird. So you have to pay attention to which parts we blend and how. Make it part of that main form. Take a look at this. I'm going to give you just a couple seconds. I want you to think to yourself, what parts of this face are blended? What parts are blended to become part of the main form? All right, if you thought the eye, yes, you are absolutely right. That's the obvious one, staring right at you, literally. Let's see, where else? Where else is blended? If you were thinking the bottom lip, that bottom of the bottom lip is blended, yeah. Where the teeth? are connected to that bottom lip. That's blended in. The handle is blended in. All right, all that's good stuff. All right, what's left unblended? Take a look at what's unblended. If you're thinking the middle of the eyeball, you got that. The top of the bottom lip is not blended. And those teeth, those tusks that come up, those aren't blended either. All the way up, like they're not blended into the face because they're not part of the face. If this monster opened his mouth, those are coming open with the bottom jaw. So they're left unblended. It just gives that illusion like there's teeth there. It's great. Ooh, take a look at this, the anglerfish. Anyone might recognize this from Finding Nemo. That beautiful little light that they couldn't get away from. Then Disney hit me with like the scariest moment in cartoon film ever. I'll never forget that scene. I love Finding Nemo. Look at this one and try to think to yourself, what parts are blended in? If you're looking at those lips on the mouth, you nailed it. If you're looking at the fin, see that little fin? The front of it's blended on. Now, is the back of that fin blended? The little fin on the side of the cup. The front's blended on, but is the back? No, it's not. Why not? If you're thinking to yourself, because the fin sticks out there, then you're totally right. All right, something else I want to bring to your attention here. Look at that back fin. When we're making forms, I want you to build the main form before adding fine detail. So what kind of fine detail is on that back fin? Let's see, we've got some scales. We've got all those little lines in the little fin part. So it really looks like a real fish fin. That's awesome. Do you think they added that detail before or after they put that tail on the cup? Think about that. Think about if you were making this, would you put the details on before you added that tail onto the cup? I would recommend add the details after you put it on the cup. Here's why. If you go and make that tail and it's all pretty and beautiful and then you have to attach it to the cup and you mash it on there, you're going to ruin all your details. You just lost them all. You got to do them a second time. So why give yourself the extra effort? Might as well streamline things, not put in effort where you don't need to. So we'll always remember that. We always build the main form before adding any fine details. All right, so take a look at this. Not too complex. You've made yourself a pinch pot. What are you going to add to this to create this shape? We're going to reverse engineer and see if we can come up with the basic shapes. So you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what would I make for this? How would we get those teeth on there? How many balls do we need to make that eye? Do you think you would carve the lines into those horns before you put them on? Or do you think you would put the horns on and then carve the lines? These are all really good questions. All right, hopefully you figured it out. If you didn't, we're going to go over it. The teeth. You cut little triangles out of flat pieces of clay. You attach them on, scratch and attach, and then you blend it. Do them for, what do they got? 7 teeth on there, and voila, you've got that awesome mouth. The eye, it looks kind of like a tiny little ball that somebody poked a pencil into, and then they put that into a even also tiny pinch pot. See how it sits into it? It's kind of cool how they use a tiny ball in a pinch pot. All right, now as for those horns, you roll a coil that's pointy on one end. I would not add the carving until after they're attached on. Reason being, what we already talked about, you're going to have to redo all those fine details once you get those pieces attached because you're going to smash it all up. So I would definitely do that after it's all attached and your whole form is made. Then we add the fine details. If you thought all that stuff when I asked, then voila, you did a great job. Nice work. Just going to show you some more examples that are pretty cool. Some of these have teeth, tails. Some use the opening of a pinch pot as the mouth. Some do not. Some have tusks and noses and eyes and eyebrows. Notice the texture that they put in the eyebrows. Those eyebrows are just clay strips added on, and then they put that texture in there, and it gives it this really awesome eyebrow effect. Super cool. The tusks and those weird teeth are just coils. The tongue is just a flat piece of clay. You get a flat piece of clay with your hands, and you cut the shape. You could add tongues to anything. You could have forked tongues. You could have 2 tongues. You could have fangs, eyes. This is really cool alien looking thing. Notice he's got the chains up on his hat and stuff. I love these. They're so cute and silly. Think outside the box. What makes you laugh or what makes you scared or creepy? Do what you like because you're going to get to keep these forever. I've had students make ones that look like giant sea creatures. I've had students make ones that are the Cookie Monster. I've seen so many different variations. So today we get to explore our options before we ever start in clay. I want us to explore our options and then study them visually with our brains. That doesn't mean I'm just going to have you stare at them. I'm going to have you draw your ideas. So we're going to draw. To begin any project, we first explore multiple visual ideas. You might ask, why? Why, Mr. Smith? Why are you making me draw at least 3 different monster mugs? Here's why. Plenty of you probably have an idea already. You've got it in your brain. You know what you want to make. You've got it set in there. But that came right to you. I want you to think of more ideas. I want you to think of something beyond what just comes to you easily. I want you to think what else is out there? What other ideas could you utilize? What other details, what other monsters could you try? So I want you to come up with 3 different ideas to try to explore more options and more ideas. There are colored pencils on the center table if you'd like to use them. There should also be paper. If we have run out of paper at the center table, we're going to go next door. We're going to grab some paper by the printer. So one person can jump next door into Miss Braverman's room and grab that if you need to. When you're drawing today, and don't get up just yet, hopefully you're all still sitting there paying attention, ask yourself, what kind of monster are you going to make? Plan that out from the get-go. You could try 3 different emotions, 3 completely different monsters. You could try 3 things that are kind of similar if you know what direction you want to go in. Your design should plan what it's going to look like. How many eyes will it have? Is it mean and scary? Does it have spikes on it? Is it cute and sweet? What details can you add to show what the monster is like? Is it scary, angry, fun, silly, all that stuff? When we finish today, we will submit an image in Google Classroom for this assignment. It'll say Monster Mug Sketches. Okay. We will begin in clay when we return next class. Ignore that little bit down there that says next week. It will be next class. All right, have fun, everybody. Enjoy this. Do the best job that you can, and we're going to begin in clay next time I see you. You may now begin.